Welcome to the channel. My name is Jodie Knight. You can find me over on eToro. My live portfolio there is going to be linked in the description down below. But other than that, in this video, we're going to talk about the daily chart, the weekly chart, the short and long-term, long-dated options interest. We'll talk a little bit about my price targets, where I'm going to add, where I'm going to trim. As well as that, we'll look at the general market, what data came out, what data is coming out, and if there's any good Tesla news that we're interested in. Let's just jump straight into it. Looking at the chart this morning, we had the sell-off yesterday, which we'll talk about what happened in the news section in this video as well. Not really the most exciting sell-off, to be honest. I'm actually quite shocked. But anyway, before I get distracted, price is really kind of holding well on to this previous level. The yellow line there, can't hit it. We are starting to build out a nice volume shelf as well on this one, so that one's pretty good. Now, do I think we've got more upside on this one? Yes, but do I think we could see some downside first? Yes, I think so. We're getting a lot of kind of exhaustion signals on this one a little bit, and a lot of people starting to take profits, I think, is what we're seeing. We'll check out the options market after as well and see what the big boys are thinking. But we're starting to get a little bit of a bearish divergence here. Nothing major. It's just forming, and the volume of this sell-off tells me people are starting to get a little bit skittish. But we also have a lot of gaps to the downside, a lot of strong momentum to the upside. If we just track where Tesla started off down here in kind of, I think it was just before May, to the high, that's 160% return in 150 trading days, which I think a lot of people forget. Yes, it's been volatile, but it's had a hell of a move, and it's going to have these kind of big pullbacks. It is volatile. It's Tesla. That's how it goes. But we're seeing a lot of good signs for the long term, but maybe the technicals just get a little bit exhausted here. We're getting overbought signals on the MaxDX Plus, and the flows looking quite tired and worn out. So I would like to at least get to this $3 to $3 kind of gap and at least get this one off the table. We've got some whoppers down here though. Absolute beast at 255. Possibly could get it. That's the really the strongest area of support is going to be this 370 to 350 range. But I don't necessarily see Tesla dropping below 300 again. I mean, I would love it to do it. I would load up some shares on that. And if it went sub 300, I might actually look at options again on this one, because the upside potential for the next 1-2 years would be great. So you can get some leaps on there. That'd be nice. But it's not something I'm looking at now, since Tesla is currently at kind of my fair price that I'm willing to pay, around 350. So I shrunk my position down to a 10% weighting, and that doesn't really change until my price thesis changes. Next year, I think, though, I did write it down, looking about $500 to $700 fair value. So you might ask why I'm not adding at these levels, and that's just because I like to do it quarterly. I adjust my prices, and whilst I think that's the prices that it's going to be worth towards the end of next year, I don't look that far ahead when I'm deciding what price I'm willing to pay for a stock, if that kind of makes sense. I hope it does. Not the best at explaining things like that, but 350, I don't want to pay more than that this year until next quarter. I didn't change it in the last quarter because I didn't feel the need to change it when I looked over the numbers. A lot of the price driving things that Tesla's going to be doing next year don't exist yet, so it's hard to price them into something I'm willing to pay for today. We'll talk about that in the news section, though. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about? Downside, we talked about. Upside targets, I think we could get to 400 by the end of the year. We certainly have some key levels there. 420, I mean, that would be pretty magical for Elon if it got there. We do have some fib at kind of 415, so maybe fate will push it to 420 by the year end. We don't know. But we're starting to get some kind of walls holding us down on this one. But this is one of those weird stocks where I'm super happy if it goes up, but I'm also super happy if it comes down, because I don't think the main growth comes until late 2025 or 2026. So I've got time on my side with this one. I just want to keep buying shares when they're at good prices. Taking a look at the weekly chart though, we can see where I got the levels there at 400 key psychological level, and it was right by a previous high. Came very close to getting the perfect 420 close previously as well. No surprise. But other than that, again, the indicators just look a bit worn out. Like it's not pushing higher. MACDX Plus is it's strong. It could maintain that strength, and Flow could maintain that strength. But sometimes it's better to have a little ease off and then pop. As annoying as that would be to a lot of people that just want to be up, 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 and to the moon, that is not realistically how a lot of things trade, and it's certainly not a healthy price action. And if it does go parabolic, you might be a little bit crazy if you don't take some profits. Like if we scroll back here, a previous parabolic Tesla move here, 94% in is that 6 weeks? 6 weeks. But if you didn't take profit, then maybe just be a long-term investor and don't trim and add, just hold, hold, hold. But then you have to deal with all this pain down here as well. So it really depends on your preferences, your personality, and how you build your strategy. It's different for everyone. Moving on to Tesla options. Interesting enough, we had resistance here at 360. I didn't actually look at this yesterday, so I'm actually quite surprised. So we had a bit of the stars aligning. We had this really strong resistance here where the market makers were going to do a little dumpy, and then also with the California EV tax credit news. So that's we had probably some retailers and stuff dumping out on fear woes as well, but the there would have been a sell-off here anyway. This is going to be a tough one to break. There's a fair volume there, but like we said on the charts, we look 400 is entirely possible. But the strongest resistance is there. That's going to be a tough one to break in the short term, judging by those levels. Still got a lot of interest down here at the lower gaps. I don't know if they're going to fill, but worth keeping an eye on anyway. I'd like to see these volume areas shrinking away in the future. In fact, we can check. Let's put it out a week, and they've gone. So that was fairly easy. 360 as a level looks like it's going to be maintained though, and 400 kind of shrinking away. So they're going to be the levels to watch out for in terms of what the big boys are doing, where they're looking to hold their shares and whatnot. Let's go January, see what the market looks like. Move these little tabs out of the way. A bit annoying how they're on there as default. Super strong support at kind of 330, 320. So like we said when we looked at the chart, getting under 300 is going to be a bit of a big ask, but it's entirely possible that we do make a move down to the gap at 325. So that's where a lot of the support is sitting. So I would personally love that, and I will buy more shares if we get that gap fill, but I'm not adding unless we get that gap fill. Just want to make that clear. Let's go January 2027. Sorry, I've got a bit of a itchy nose here. January 20. Did I say 27? I meant January 2026. Looking pretty good at 400 still. I suspect there's going to be more higher. So again, this is at the low area of my price expectation for Tesla to see out the year. I wonder if we pull it down, we'll see some more higher. No, 500, 510 range is where a lot of the market's sitting price wise. But bear in mind they do have a tendency to be a little bit under what Tesla actually does. It always gets a really high multiple, which must be annoying for other car companies. So there's not really tons of exciting Tesla news. We did have the updated Chinese metrics. I mean, the data for this, you can go on X, and I think his name's Piloli. I don't know how you pronounce that, but it's spelled Pilolly, and he's a very good source of really, really nitty-gritty Chinese data. Mainly just pointing out that the latest numbers are showing a 15.6% increase year over year, which is awesome. Also, just wanted to remind you, my Q3 Tesla earnings are updated on my website at thecraftytrader.com, so you can go over there and check that out. I did forget to put a little clip it on this screen about the California news, so I just wanted to talk on that real quick. I mentioned it earlier that the sell-off yesterday a little bit. The California came out with the news saying that they wanted to give EV tax credits to other manufacturers, not including Tesla. And this is separate from the EV credits that Trump wants to take away. This is something that only California wants to do, and I think California really is just crucifying itself. It's making it really hard for businesses wanting to kind of incorporate there if they're going to favor only the ones that they that are politically aligned with them. If they're going to shun everyone else, it's not a good place for business. As much as people don't like saying it, most Western cultures are capitalist in nature, and it's what works. We've seen other types of culture not go quite well, and places like California are really trying to be more not into that, and it's not going well. California is not the place to be anymore. But aside from that, just want if anyone hasn't followed him, I think he's on YouTube as well. But Curious Peggy, Pajjy, I think it is. He's also on X. He just did some quick napkin math, and if you want to take that, that is some really raw numbers that can dramatically affect the bottom line for Tesla. I think in the numbers he's talking about 1 million bots sold at 20K. I think my expectation is they will be more expensive than that and they will make less, especially at the beginning. But I mean, that's either here nor there. This is just simply a kind of um, thought box kind of thing where we're just thinking about what the numbers could mean. Now, we don't even know if these numbers will be true. It's entirely possible that there won't be a set price for these. They could be done with some kind of loan arrangement, some running fees. This is really just a good representation of how much we do not know how these things are going to be priced or how aggressively they're going to ramp up. We can only take people's words for it. I do think that the ramp up is going to be slower than people think because there's not really a capacity to build them right now. So there's going to be some lag in, making the factories or making space at current factories to be able to pump these bad boys out. There's certainly not a million bots going to appear out of thin air for anyone that's pricing that in. There'll be some capex and stuff with that as well. So just if you've got time, just pause the screen, look at those numbers, and that's one product that Tesla's ramping up in the next few years. I don't expect to get to 1 million in a few years, but it's on the way, and these are big numbers. He's saying just on that one product with the numbers he's put in, which I think are quite modest, that the total profits to the bottom line will be 9.6 billion. That's pretty amazing, and I've not even really priced this in with my models because the numbers to me just sounded made up, so I took them out. I've stuck with energy and more along the lines of regular FSD, not even including in taxi. So in the future the numbers get really wacky, and I just wanted to put this here to show you that I'm not making it up, that my models are crazy. The numbers really do get a bit scatty, and he's put them in a way that's quite easy to relate to, I think. Economic data then, we had the Chicago Fed National Activity Index came in lower than expected, but it's hardly been, a rock star. Dallas Fed came in worse than expected. It's pretty big blow to manufacturing over there, but as we can see, we were hoping for it to become positive for the first time in quite a while, and it didn't happen. So, but hardly a rock star, so it's not going to be earth shattering. Today, though, we've got Red Book year over year. That's at 155. It's not quite one, it's about 12:30 now. So this video will be out by then, so I won't be able to comment on it. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But it's been decent. Can't hate it. Housing data is expected to be not great, so hardly anything to get too excited about. Although a lot of the real estate related stuff did pop over the last few days, so I wonder what's happening there. Might be an indicator, but it also might be a red herring. So that's something to bear in mind. Consumer confidence is expected to increase. Good. More manufacturing data is expected to be slightly better, but given what we saw yesterday, maybe that won't be the case. Dallas services data, I'd like to see that one be strong. Services is where it's at, and it's coming off quite a bad run, so seeing some continuation there would be nice. Revenue's supposed to be up as well, but revenue's been kind of ticking up, so that's been good. FOMC meetings. Very curious to see what those are. Expecting a bit of chop. We kind of expect things to sell off today before we get these FOMC minutes. People don't really like to run the market up into these bigger events. Tomorrow, though, we've got more mortgage data. Judging by that, it's probably going to be up again, but hopefully not. We do have the PCE data and the GDP growth as well, which kind of coincides with it. Also, definitely more likely to have more of a sell-off today as people de-risk into this more important data. So there's a lot of jobs data, a lot of PCE, a lot of bits and bobs, GDP, more jobs. So Wednesday's looking like quite a big day today. Some of it might be out when I make my video. We'll talk about it tomorrow. That's us all done and dusted for another Tesla Tuesday wrap up. If you enjoyed this content, give the video a like, share it with your mum, your nan, your dog, your dad, whoever, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you tomorrow.